Broadcasting from the campus of College of DuPage, this is Chicago's home for jazz. 90.9 FM WDCB, Glen Ellen, Chicago, and 90.7 FM WRTE, Chicago West Loop. Streaming online at wdcb.org.
Welcome to Chicago Jazz Live, small group jazz from the city of big shoulders. Performances drawn from Chicago's deep pool of extraordinary jazz talent in an intimate setting, recorded in front of a live audience. It's a house concert in a club, and I'm your host, Steve Rashid. This week we welcome the Petra van Nuis Dennis Luxion Quintet, featuring vocalist Petra van Nuis and pianist Dennis Luxion, with Art Davis on the trumpet, Andy Brown on the guitar, and Dan DeLorenzo on the bass. Petra and Dennis are presenting a program titled Remembering Chet, Songs and Stories of Chet Baker. We're breaking with our usual format a bit this week by including almost as much story as song, because Dennis Luxion served as Chet Baker's pianist, touring Europe with him from 1979 to 1985. So between Petra's insightful questions and Dennis's personal recollections, we'll get a really unique first-hand look into the life of this complicated, legendary figure. So let's join Petra van Nuis and Dennis Luxion on stage at Studio5 in Evanston, Illinois, for Chicago Jazz Live.
I just want to set the scene of what happened with Dennis. It was 1979. It was Liège, Belgium, and Dennis went there to Europe, possibly to move, but also to visit a friend of his, a Belgian woman named Christiane, who later turned out to be his wife, who is here tonight. And Chet Baker came to town to play 2 nights of a gig with a guitarist and bassist, and fortunately no pianist. And there was a wonderful Belgian musician named Jacques Pelzer, who was known among the musicians as the pharmacist, because he actually was a pharmacist by day and a fine musician by night. And of course, because of both of those things, he was one of Chet Baker's closest friends. I guess Chet had known him since the mid-'50s when Chet first came to Europe. But it was the pharmacist who was kind enough to recommend to Chet that he have Dennis come and sit in the second night and play piano with the band. And Jacques thought that Dennis would be, his playing would be enjoyed by Chet. And of course, I know why I think Chet would enjoy Dennis's playing, but I just wanted to hear from Dennis. What was Chet looking for in a piano player, Dennis?
I don't know. I do know, though, he didn't want, like, the music to be cluttered. Yeah. So he often, the one reason we're playing in this format is because Chet often, while I was working with him, didn't use drums, because he thought that drummers often played too much and just the sound of cymbals covered music up. So he just wanted things to be pretty sparse so that you could hear everything clearly.
So, but you have a sparse quality. Do you think that's what he was looking for?
I guess so. So, I mean, I guess one of my, big skills is not playing much.
But what Dennis does play means something, and that's the point. I think you once told me, I'm trying to remember the exact quote, if there's a lot going on, nothing is important. There we go. So after you sat in, I think Dennis was off on the road. They went to Germany, they went to Italy, and I believe there was an Italian pianist who may have not exactly known he was not really on the gig. If you want to tell that story, somebody that maybe played a little more than you. You played not that much. He played all that much.
Well, yeah, so I started working with Chet, and the first place I sat in was in Belgium, and then we went to Germany, but really close by. And where I sat in, Doug Rainey was playing, because he had just recorded with Chet in Copenhagen, and then he was supposed to be on a gig, but I think he got lost. Anyway, he never showed up, and so it was just piano, and bass and Chet. And then we were off to Italy, and he was scheduled to do a recording with Enrico Pieranunzi, a really great Italian piano player, and do some of Enrico's tunes, and with Enrico's band, which was pretty young players. I mean, must have been in their early 20s, I would think. And yeah, it's true that after they did recording, Chet basically hired Enrico's band. So it's saxophone, drums, bass, and no Enrico.
You got the gig.
Yeah, I got the gig. I don't think Enrico was all that happy. I mean, I didn't see him all that often, but yeah.
We'd like to do a tune now, speaking of sparse and beautiful and simple. This is a gorgeous ballad that Dennis recorded with Chet Baker on an album called Chet Baker, Steve Hubin. And Steve Hubin was another Belgian musician, another saxophonist. And this is the opening tune of the album.
A cousin of the pharmacist.
Yes, a cousin of the pharmacist, right. And Dennis went to visit Steve Hubin in 2022, and unfortunately Steve Hubin just passed away in March. So we're going to dedicate this beautiful song to the beautiful memory of Dennis's friend Steve Hubin. Our love will live. Our love will last. This is not a dream that ended with the dawn. It's one that fate intended to live on and on. This isn't sometimes, this is always. This isn't maybe, this is always. This is love, the real beginning of forever. This isn't just midsummer madness, a passing glow, a moment's gladness. Yes, yes, it's love. I knew it on the night we met. You tied a string around my heart. So how can I forget you? With every kiss I know that this is always, it's always. tied a string around my heart, so how can I forget you? With every kiss, I know that this is our way. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been rereading one biography of Chet and reading a new one about Chet, and both of these biographies have some Dennis Luxion quotes in them, and it's interesting because a lot of the musicians quoted seem to have a lot of the same experiences, and everyone seems to mention that Chet was basically a nomadic creature, and that he liked to take people on what you and several other people have called endless tours. Can you explain what the endless tour is?
Well, a regular tour would be something organized usually by a manager, an agent, right? With a definite number of gigs, a definite beginning, and a definite end. When I started working with Chet, and some of the, I must say, some of the things I did later in my, tenure with Chet were that way, but the beginning was not. In fact, I think he not only added gigs, he added an agent, in the beginning of this tour. So we started off and we did some things in Italy, did some gigs in Germany, and it was kind of a little all over the place. But then there was an agent, an Italian woman, Rita Amaducci, that got added to the mix at some point, and she just kept adding gigs, and not necessarily in jazz clubs. It would begin like a disco, or someplace like that. I mean, just a jazz night, but in a disco, right? So that just went on, forever. It seemed like.
And then you told me that you kind of got a little sick of the endless tours, but because after that you were more slightly demanding more defined tours, not demanding, but asking, and because sometimes you told me that Chet would even call you up and say, "Hey, we're leaving tomorrow on a 3-week tour."
No.
Without any planning.
I mean, I think this is referring to the beginning of my first period with the end of the first period with Chet. Yeah. So we did a recording at the end of this endless tour. So I had been playing with him maybe 8 months, 9 months, something like that. And we had started in Belgium, and we were, mostly in Italy, which was great. The food was fantastic. I'm vegetarian, so Italy is like paradise for a vegetarian. So we had a recording session that was scheduled, and then Chet went back to New York. And when he went back, I tried writing, but this was like 1980. There was no, text messages, and I don't know, what did I do? Send him a letter? Send him a postcard? I don't know. But I tried to find out when we were going to go back out on the road, and never heard anything. Right. Until the phone call. We're leaving tomorrow. And in the meantime, so I was back in Belgium, and had been taking some gigs because I had nothing to do with Chet, And if I were to go on the road the next day, then all these new contacts and these new gigs, that would have ended fairly abruptly. Right. So that's when I got the ultimatum. The message from above was, you go out with him tomorrow, don't bother to come back. It's him or me.
That's what Christiane said, right? I think you made the right choice.
Yes, I don't want to get, I don't know if she wants to get too involved in this, but yes.
Well, as I said, I think you made the right choice, and that was kind of asking a lot. That recording you referred to at the end of the first Endless tour is called Leaving. It's a fantastic recording. It's available, you can hear it on YouTube, and it's really spectacular because 4 of Dennis's compositions are on that recording, and one of them, these fellows are going to play for you right now. It's a tune called Blues pour CR, and the CR refers to Dennis's wife, Christiane Ray, so it's Blues for Christiane Ray, and I think both of you were probably feeling the blues when you were gone all those times from each other, right when your love affair was blossoming. So take it away, fellas. Dennis Luxion's composition, Blues pour CR, on the Chet Baker recording, Leaving.
Hi, this is Lily Kuzma inviting you to the Folk Festival for an eclectic mix of folk styles, Americana, and much more. It's a virtual festival experience that'll warm your evenings and delight your ears. Enter at the South Gate to visit Folk Festival, Tuesdays from 8 to 11 p.m. here on 90.9 FM, WDCB, and WDCB.org.
Oh, I want you to love me like it's 1945.
You're listening to Chicago Jazz Live, small group jazz from the city of Big Shoulders, featuring Chicago's great jazz musicians in a live, intimate setting. I'm your host, Steve Rashid. Our performances at Studio5 in Evanston, Illinois are recorded for these broadcasts, and if you'd like to learn about our upcoming events, visit studio5.dance for details. This week we welcome the Petra van Nuis Dennis Luxion Quintet, featuring vocalist Petra van Nuis and pianist Dennis Luxion, with Art Davis on the trumpet, Andy Brown on the guitar, and Dan DeLorenzo on the bass. Petra and Dennis are presenting a program titled Remembering Chet, Songs and Stories of Chet Baker. We're breaking with our usual format a bit this week by including as much story as song, because Dennis Luxion served as Chet Baker's pianist, touring Europe with him from 1979 to 1985. We are grateful that Dennis is willing to share not only his musical artistry, but his personal recollections, giving us an insight into the life of Chet Baker, such a complicated, legendary figure. Each week on Chicago Jazz Live, I spend a little time on stage talking with our artists, and I have to admit that Petra van Nuis showed up for this evening so well researched and with such great questions for Dennis that I mostly wanted to just get out of the way. But I did have a couple of brief topics I wanted to bring up before returning to the evening's music. So let's take a listen. Dennis Luxion, Petra van Nuis. We didn't talk about this, but you, my friend, are doing, and I mean this in the best possible sense, the greatest job pulling stories out of Dennis.
I have never heard Dennis speak this much.
Actually, Dennis,
and I have
Dennis,
been
could I
working
have
with
you
him
get
for
on that
years.
mic at the piano? Could I have you get on that mic at the piano? It's good that it makes it a little easier audio-wise. And every week that we do these shows, I am thrilled to be able to share the stage with our artists and to have a brief conversation with them. I want to say almost nothing because you're doing such a great job of weaving stories in among the songs, and I don't need to do anything else. So my work here is done pretty much. Who's applauding for that? But the one question I would want to ask, and this came actually from an audience member, and maybe you were going to address this in the next set, but it was about Chet's singing. That there's so much focus on his playing and also his personality. And this has been, by the way, so fascinating and so thoroughly enjoyable for me to hear these stories. I think I'm not speaking just for myself. I know people who have been quite affected by this. Really beautiful. But could you talk about his vocal approach a little bit and how maybe either how it affected you or why you think it affected so many people, his voice? And actually to either of you, to Petra or Dennis.
So I'm going to start by saying I'm happy to sit down. It's a very Chet thing. I think in all the time I worked with him, he never stood to play.
Really?
He always sat down.
Always sat down. Wow.
Played right into the microphone. Oh, played right into the microphone. I think Petra should address this. There's a couple things. For me, I was never a big Chet Baker fan.
Really? And that's our show, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I mean, if I were to listen to trumpet players, there would be Miles, of course, Dizzy, Clifford Brown was, big, inspiration to me. Maybe Louis even, but Chet, that was, and Jerry Mulligan. I had an 8-track tape for my VW van of Chet with Jerry Mulligan, and I was familiar with, that band and the music, but it didn't have like the power of like the kind of the East Coast kind of approach to playing. I didn't find that to be the case with playing with Chet. I mean, he was definitely more aggressive as a player by that time. And he always would sing songs, but not that many per.
Oh, really? So
no.
when he would perform, it would be mostly instrumental.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Though it was interesting. I think, if you want me to speak to that, probably the best example for me was on one tour. Chet was in New York and came back to Europe, and I'm trying to think who was in the band. I know Chet was there, Leo Mitchell, a drummer he really liked from New York. On bass, I can't remember for sure. It could have been someone from New York, but probably more likely a European bass player. I don't remember. But he came and he had somebody's horn. He had borrowed a horn and a mouthpiece that he wasn't familiar with.
Wow.
And it didn't last long before he couldn't play. I mean,
wow.
he just, I think it was like a lead trumpet player's mouthpiece. I mean, it was just something he could not deal with. So we had some gig where he just sang the whole gig.
Oh, wow.
Because he couldn't really play at that point. And, it would be instrumental tunes, vocal tunes. I mean, it's not like he sang his vocal charts. He just sang everything.
Huh.
And it all sounded the same. No, he sounded like a trumpet player. It sounded like he did. It was... So there really wasn't a difference, I think, for him singing or playing.
It was just another instrument.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, if he's doing an instrumental tune and singing the head, he's going to solo on it just the way he would have if he had a trumpet.
That totally makes sense. Yeah. Totally makes sense. Do you have anything to add to that, Petra, about the way about his vocal approach?
Well, first of all, I like to say that I always was a Chet Baker fan. Both his playing and his singing just really appealed to me. Chet's singing appeals to me because mostly because of the softness. He said that he liked Billie Holiday because she never raised her voice. And I feel the same way about Chet because I'm kind of a quiet singer myself, so I always gravitate towards quiet singers who use more nuance instead of like a big bravado sound. So Chet's right up that alley, and I just think Chet is so honest. Like there's something about when he sings, it's just straight to the point, and it's very delicate and fragile and vulnerable, which is another quality that I feel like, especially today, I don't feel like you hear singers with a vulnerability and a fragility, and that is something that always appeals to me in a singer, and kind of like a melancholy sound too. I love that. And I love singers who are also instrumentalists who are singers, I should say, because it's like almost like they don't have to prove something, like in the way that a singer does. So, but I also just want to say that I think his technique was spot on. It sounds very simple what he's doing, but if you solo him out without the band, which Andy recently did on a computer program he is so in tune. It's insane. Perfect intonation. Dennis has spoken about his time, perfect phrasing, perfect feeling, perfect tone. I just love Chet Baker.
Yeah. Amen. And that soft, delicate, vulnerable approach is so kind of invites us in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to talk anymore.
Okay.
I think I'm done. I'm out of here.
I don't want to sing anymore. And
okay.
Because of that, I'm going to have these guys kick this set off. They're going to play another song from this album called Leaving that Dennis recorded with Chet at the end of the first Endless tour. This is another Dennis composition. It's called You've Flipped Out. And I cannot get this out of my head. It's driving me crazy. I wake up in the night and I hear it. Dennis is sorry, but for those of you who are musicians in the house, this is a line, they call it a contrafact, like a new melody written over the tune, You Stepped Out of a Dream. So this is You've Flipped Out.
Go for it.
I recorded this with Chet twice. So once at the end of this, endless tour on the album Leaving, and then once with another trumpet player, John Erdely, who was living in Dusseldorf. No, he was living in Cologne, that's right. And Bob Mover, a saxophone player from Boston. And Bob referred to this song as "You Flipped Out with a Scream. You Stepped Out of a Dream." I like that title better than the original. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
That was You Flipped Out, a Dennis Luxion composition from the Chet Baker album Leaving. And now we like to do a classic Chet Baker song from one of his singing albums. This is a beautiful song that Chet Baker recorded on his, I think his first debut singing album that Chet Baker sings. This is a Hoagie Carmichael tune called I Get Along Without You Very Well. I get along without you very well. Of course I do. Except when soft rains fall and drip from leaves, then I recall the thrill of being sheltered in your arms. Of course I do, but I get along without you very well. I've forgotten you just like I should. Of course I have, except to hear your name or someone's laugh that is the same. But I've forgotten you just like I should. What a guy. What a fool am I to think my breaking heart could kid the moon. What's in store? Should I phone once more? No. It's best that I stick to my tune. I get along without you very well. Of course I do. Except perhaps in spring. But I must never think of spring, for that would surely break my heart in two. What a guy, what a fool am I to think my breaking heart could kid the moon. What's in store? Should I phone once more? No, it's best that I stick to my tune. I get along without you very well. Of course I do. Except perhaps in spring, but I must never think of spring, for that would surely break my heart in two.
Hi, Uncle Bruce here. I'm going to ask you a favor. Shh. Don't tell anybody we're having a pledge drive. That's because we're not doing it the usual way. Instead of our typical summer pledge drive, we're keeping the music front and center throughout June. It's WDCB's first ever quiet summer drive. So, if you love the music here on WDCB, help us to play more of it this summer by making your renewal or giving a first-time donation if you can. Just keep it between us. You don't have to tell anybody. Just do it online quietly at WDCB.org. Thanks.
In the late 1960s, a young vibraphonist and a veteran saxophonist of the West Coast hard bop scene teamed up to form one of the era's most formidable combos. I'm David Brent Johnson, inviting you to tune in for When Harold Met Bobby, the Bobby Hutcherson Harold Land Group, this week on Nightlights. Wednesday night at 8 here on 90.9 FM, WDCB and WDCB.org.
This is Chicago Jazz Live, small group jazz from the city of Big Shoulders, featuring Chicago's great jazz musicians in a live, intimate setting. I'm your host, Steve Rashid. Our shows are recorded at Studio 5 in Evanston, Illinois, and you can find out more about our upcoming events at studio5.dance. This week we welcome vocalist Petra van Nuis and pianist Dennis Luxion, with Art Davis on the trumpet, Andy Brown on the guitar, and Dan DeLorenzo on the bass, in a program titled Remembering Chet, Songs and Stories of Chet Baker. Dennis Luxion served as Chet Baker's pianist, touring Europe with him from 1979 to 1985. And we're spending the evening listening to Dennis's personal recollections from his time in the band, woven together with performances of some of the songs that Chet recorded. So let's go back to the Studio 5 stage to hear more from the Petra van Nuis Dennis Luxion Quintet. Here they are performing The Touch of Your Lips for Chicago Jazz Live.
The touch of your lips upon my brow, your lips that are cool and sweet, such tenderness lies in their soft caress. My heart forgets to beat. The touch of your hand upon my
touch of your lips upon my brow, your lips that are cool and sweet. Such tenderness lies in their soft caress. My heart forgets to beat. The touch of your of your lips on mine. Thank you.
We're going to do one more song for you this set. We like to ask Dennis one more question, which is, from the outsider's point of view, it seems like playing for Chet, musically it would be exhilarating, but I know that it was a little bit crazy making just logistically. Specifically, you've mentioned border crossings were a problem. Why were border crossings a problem, Dennis?
There were borders. If you go to visit places in Europe now, there aren't borders really, right? I mean, it's the whole European Union. At the time, because this was, I was there from 1979 to 1985, and so the Berlin Wall hadn't come down. There were border crossings between all countries. And Chet had spent a year in prison for drugs in Lucca, Italy. When? In the 60s, maybe? I just know he was on the list. So if you crossed the border, maybe it was clearest if you were on the train and that a customs guy would come by and he'd have a big book. Yeah. And there was a lot of names in that book. And I only know one of them. And that was Chet. And I know he had spent, before I started working with him, some money hiring lawyers to get him cleared from those lists, but he was still on some of them, I know that. So one time we had just played in Switzerland. I don't know how we got in there, but what hadn't been a problem. Played in Switzerland, then went out, I think, to Germany, played some other gigs. But we had left Chet's car in Switzerland, and we went back to pick it up, taking the train. The train was stopping. We were just about to get off, and the guy with the book showed up. And he checked Chet's ID and that you can get your car, but you can't go through Switzerland. So we had to go to Italy, for the next gig, and so we couldn't drive through Switzerland. We had to drive all around Switzerland. And that was the only time Chet let me drive his car because he was really tired. So, and of course, then we ran out of gas, and that's all. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Anyway.
Well, I'd like to thank you so much. We're going to do one more song. As I said, this is a song that's kind of appropriate, speaking of what Dennis is talking about, driving and driving me crazy. This is called You're Driving Me Crazy. This is a tune that Chet Baker sang on one of his singing albums called It Could Happen to You. One, two, 3, 4. You're driving me crazy. What did I do? What did I do? My tears for you make everything hazy, clouding the skies of blue. How true were the friends who were near me to cheer me? Believe me, they knew that you were the kind who would hurt me, desert me when I needed you. Oh, you're driving me crazy. What did I do to you?
You've been listening to Chicago Jazz Live, this week featuring vocalist Petra van Nuis and pianist Dennis Luxion, with Art Davis on the trumpet, Andy Brown on the guitar, and Dan DeLorenzo on the bass, in a program titled Remembering Chet, Songs and Stories of Chet Baker. Chicago Jazz Live was created by Steve Rashid, that's me, and is produced in partnership with WDCB, Chicago's home for jazz. Our show is recorded by Sam Fishkin, mixed by Woodside Avenue Music Productions in Evanston, Illinois, and is distributed through PRX, Public Radio Exchange. If you listen to our show and think, I would like to be in that room, well, you can do that. If you'd like to learn more about our upcoming events and how to attend them in person, visit studio5.dance for details. Studio5.dance. And as always, stay safe, be well, and thanks very much for listening.
This week on Afterglow, it's the third part of my Rodgers and Hammerstein retrospective. We'll hear songs from their musicals Flower Drum Song, The Sound of Music, and more, as interpreted by Sarah Vaughan, Peggy Lee, Eddie Fisher, and many others. I'm Richard Rowland, and join me for Something Good, the later musicals of Rodgers and Hammerstein, this week on Afterglow.
Wednesday night at 7 p.m. on 90.9 FM, WDCB, and WDCB.org.
Broadcasting from the campus of College of DuPage, this is Chicago's home for jazz. 90.9 FM WDCB, Glen Ellen, Chicago, and 90.7 FM WRTE, Chicago West Loop. Streaming online at WDCB.org.